Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. My name's Abby Blaze and I'm a UK-based matchmaker and dating coach. Today we're going to talk about nerves, specifically first date nerves and how to deal with them. I've always been quite a nervous person, and yet people are often surprised about that because I speak on YouTube, I do public speaking, I train professionally in dance, musical theatre and acting, so I have this background which would sort of suggest, that I might be someone who doesn't really get nervous. Not the case. I learned from a really young age not to let fear get in the way of doing the things that I wanted to do. So when I decided that I wanted to be a dancer and an actress and performer, I had to manage my nerves. Quite often, not very successfully. In fact, I think that if I was less of a nervous character, I probably would have been more successful in that area. So when it comes to the dating and things like that, this is not the area that I get nervous about. However, I know that many people do get nervous about dates and start to hone in on perhaps thinking about things in a negative way that isn't particularly helpful. So today we're going to talk about how to combat those nerves so that we can be more successful on our dates and actually enjoy them. My first point is that I want you to reframe how you perceive nerves. I used to see nerves as something that needed to be gotten rid of, that could never work with me, and it would be something that I've got to not feel nervous. If I feel nervous, I'll forget what I'm saying, or if I feel nervous, things will go really badly. If I feel nervous, they'll be able to tell and I won't perform as well. Before anything that's ever made me nervous, I've had to battle that self-talk. So you kind of have those negative opinions in your head of what can go wrong. And I want you to just invite some counter arguments and have a think about it ahead of time. It could go really badly, but it could also go quite well. If it goes really badly, it's not the end of the world. No one's going to die here. Someone did once die on a Tinder date though, but very unlikely. So generally speaking, your nerves are founded on a fear of what could go wrong but hasn't gone wrong. So it's kind of like not a real thing that you're fearing. It's looking into the future and projecting the worst case scenario. So it's good to be aware of how your brain is functioning and thinking and counter argue it. So there's always another thought that can be happening that's different to this negative thought that makes you nervous. One of the most useful strategies for helping with your nerves is to plan ahead of time what is going to happen on the date. So you can't control every single situation that happens on the date. It's improvisation. You don't know what the other person's going to say. You can't control what they're going to do. You can generally control certain things, like I know I made a reservation, I know the location of the restaurant or the bar, I know that I've got my trousers pressed and I've got my hair booked in for a blow dry. So you can control those sorts of things. So preparing how you're going to look, preparing what you're going to wear, preparing where you're actually going to meet the person will help with your nervousness. If you're planning the date, actually plan it. Don't just say, oh, we'll meet at such and such a place and we'll pick somewhere. Especially at the moment, it's quite difficult because certain places aren't open in the same way. So it's good to check ahead of time and make a reservation. Don't do anything drastic with your appearance on the day of your date because that will make you more nervous if you feel uncomfortable. Make sure you're wearing an outfit that you generally feel good in. Don't just be like, I'm going to wear this dress that's a bit tight, I don't feel great in it. Find something that you feel great in and wear that. If you're super nervous about a first date and how to navigate the whole situation, just suggest something like a drink and keep it to 1 hour, 2 hours if it's going well, maximum. Even say before the date, let's meet for a quick drink on Wednesday. The word quick gives them an indication that you're not going to be there for the entire evening. That will also hopefully help them to relax a little bit because let's remember, it's not all about you, it's also about the date, so they might be nervous too. Which leads me nicely to my next point, which is to put your attention onto them. This is an acting tip. When you're nervous as an actor, you're meant to take the attention and the focus that you have on yourself of how do I sound, how do I look, am I doing a good job, and put your attention onto the other person. So you're focusing on their needs, on listening to them, and on getting information from them. But don't turn it into an interrogation. It's a balancing act. It's about when they reveal information, being positive about it, bringing a positive energy to the conversation. Even if you're not doing the majority of the talking, listening is so important, and many people feel like they're not heard. So if you can go on a date and be a fantastic listener, then that will be like such a positive thing to be bringing to the table. If you truly put your attention onto them, they'll come across as a really compassionate, caring individual, which ticks massive boxes for both men and women. You can also plan some of the topics that you want to talk about. Have some questions in your pocket if you need to, or in your handbag, that you want to ask on the date. Certain things that you know that will get them to talk. The best way to do this is to know a little bit about your date beforehand. So if you've been on an online dating site, or if you've had a bit of a conversation before, you should have some information that you can use to help facilitate the conversation on the date. So for example, if you've gone onto their online dating profile, you haven't really had a conversation, but you can see that they're interested in fitness, you can ask them, what got you into fitness? So you want to ask open-ended questions. An open-ended question is a question that does not elicit a yes or a no response. So asking someone about things like where they want to travel to next, where their favourite place in the world is and why, is a good way of having a conversation that is kind of normal and not out there, but it also opens up further conversation. Make sure that you've got an opinion on the things that you're asking of that person as well. So if it gets really awkward, you can go first with your answer. You don't need to have loads of questions. It can just be 3 topics that you want to cover. You can make any topic interesting if you use your imagination. And if you don't have a great imagination, you can always have a few little pointers that you've got written down ahead of time, or ask friends of yours, what sort of things would you ask on a first date? You know, if someone's better at dating than you, go to them. Come to me for some coaching. I'll give you tons of questions. Except that there are going to be some awkward silences. It's completely okay. And remember, they can pick up the conversation too. You can't drive an entire date. You're not a performing monkey or a seal. You're not going to get scored out of 10 on a date. Ultimately, it's absolutely fine to feel nervous on a first date. In fact, I think nerves are a good thing. It's just how we perceive nerves that matters. Thank you so much for watching today. If you've enjoyed this video, please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I would love to hear your good date stories in the comments box below. And if you're interested in any one-on-one dating coaching, you can just head on over to my website. You can also find me on social media at Abby Blaze. Bye-bye.